You're scrolling through YouTube, and there it is again. Another video promising to change your life through the ancient wisdom of Stoicism. Marcus Aurelius quotes over sunset backgrounds. Black and white Greek philosopher statue imparting their ancient knowledge on Stoicism. Promises of unwavering calm in the face of adversity. It all sounds great, doesn't it? But here's the question we need to ask. Is Stoicism really the life-changing philosophy it's hyped up to be? Let's face it, we're living in the age of quick fixes and miracle cures. From 30-day fitness challenges to 10-step programs for instant success, everyone's selling the secret to a better life. And lately, Stoicism has become the philosophy du jour in the self-help world. But does it actually work? Or is it just another trend that looks good on Instagram but falls flat in real life? Now, don't get me wrong. Stoicism isn't inherently bad. It's an ancient philosophy with genuinely valuable insights. The problem is how it's being packaged and sold in our modern world. It's been reduced to inspirational quotes and oversimplified life hacks. But life isn't that simple. Think about it. How many times have you watched a video about Stoicism, felt inspired for a day or two, and then went right back to your old habits? You're not alone. The internet is full of people who've tried to embrace Stoicism, only to find themselves just as stressed, just as reactive, and just as unhappy as before. So, what's going wrong here? Well, for starters, we're treating Stoicism like a magic pill. Got anger issues? Just remember that you can't control other people's actions. Feeling anxious? Just focus on what you can control. Sounds easy, right? But in practice, it's a lot harder than these YouTube gurus make it seem. Let's take a common Stoic teaching, focusing on what you can control. In theory, it's great advice. But when you're in the middle of a crisis, maybe you've just lost your job, or you're going through a painful breakup, simply telling yourself to focus on what you can control often isn't enough. Emotions don't just disappear because you've read meditations, and that's the crux of the problem. Modern Stoicism, as it's often presented, doesn't adequately address the complexity of human emotions and experiences. It can even lead to a kind of emotional suppression that's not actually healthy. You're not supposed to feel angry or sad or anxious, right? Just be like a Stoic and brush it off. But that's not how real human beings work. Moreover, there's a dark side to Stoicism that often gets overlooked in these feel-good videos. The philosophy can sometimes be used as a justification for complacency or inaction. After all, if you're supposed to accept everything that happens as fate, why bother trying to change things? This interpretation can be particularly problematic when it comes to social and political issues. Should we really just accept injustice because it's out of our control? Now, I can already hear the Stoicism defenders saying, but that's not what real Stoicism teaches. And they're right. The philosophy is much more nuanced than how it's often presented. But that's exactly the point. The Stoicism being sold on YouTube and Instagram isn't the real deal. It's a watered-down, oversimplified version that promises easy solutions to complex problems. So, what about all those successful people who swear by Stoicism? Well, here's a thought. Maybe they're successful not because of Stoicism, but because they're the kind of driven, disciplined people who would be successful anyway. Stoicism just happens to align with their existing mindset. But for the average person struggling with real-life problems, adopting a few Stoic principles isn't likely to dramatically change their life. It might provide some temporary comfort or a new perspective. But it's not going to magically solve deep-seated issues or suddenly make you ultra-productive and successful. And let's talk about that success for a moment. A lot of modern Stoicism seems oddly focused on productivity and achievement. But is that really what the ancient Stoics were all about? Marcus Aurelius wasn't writing about how to crush it in the boardroom or optimize your morning routine. The original philosophy was much more about living an ethical life and finding inner peace, not climbing the corporate ladder. So, where does this leave us? Is Stoicism completely useless? Not at all. There are valuable lessons to be learned from Stoic philosophy. The problem is in how it's being presented and consumed in our quick-fix culture. If you want to truly benefit from Stoicism, you need to go deeper than inspirational quotes and YouTube videos. You need to study the philosophy in its entirety, understand its historical context, and critically examine how it applies or doesn't apply to modern life. And most importantly, you need to practice it consistently over time, not just when you're feeling motivated after watching a video. But even then, it's important to remember that Stoicism is just one perspective among many. It's not the ultimate truth or the only path to a good life. In fact, blindly following any single philosophy, Stoicism included, can be limiting. The real wisdom comes from exploring different ideas, questioning everything, including Stoicism itself, and finding what truly works for you. So, the next time you see a video promising to change your life through the wisdom of Marcus Aurelius, take it with a grain of salt. Instead of looking for easy answers, embrace the complexity of life. Recognize that growth and change are hard, often messy processes that can't be summed up in a 10-minute video or a collection of quotes. Remember, the ancient Stoics weren't watching YouTube videos about how to be Stoic. They were out there living life, grappling with real problems, and developing their ideas through years of thought and practice. Maybe instead of trying to be a Stoic, we should take inspiration from their approach. Think deeply, question everything, and find our own path to a meaningful life. In the end, true growth doesn't come from adopting someone else's philosophy wholesale. It comes from critically engaging with ideas, testing them in the real world, and developing our own understanding. So by all means, explore Stoicism if it interests you, but don't expect it to magically change your life. Real change comes from within, and it takes a lot more than watching a few videos or reading a few quotes. So, what do you think? Is Stoicism really changing lives? Or is it just another passing trend in the self-help world? The answer, like life itself, is probably somewhere in the messy middle, and maybe that's okay. Maybe instead of looking for perfect solutions, we should embrace the journey with all its ups and downs, challenges and growth opportunities. After all, isn't that what true wisdom is all about?